Everybody is so upset right now because of overbooking on flights. Well, let me tell you the reason why. There are tons of people that don't show up for their flights, and they can't afford to let that happen because you can't believe the amount of money it costs to take an airplane off the ground. So you've got to have those people in their seats. First of all, aviation fuel is outrageously expensive, and it takes tons of fuel to fly an airplane. And they have to pay for the gates where they are, and if they have to be using those gates all the time because somebody else wants the gates. There's tremendous competition to get those gates, and so they have to use them or pay for them at all times or they lose the gate. And then the ship cleaners come in and clean the airplane before anybody gets on it. They've got to pay for all those guys to come and go through the ship to keep it spick and span and fill up the seat pockets with all the stuff that's supposed to be in there. And then the amount of money that they pay all these people to keep the airline going, and this is before anybody's even gotten on the airplane. So they have to pay for all of that, and then when the people get on the airplane, think of the amount of money it costs to pay the crews. The pilots have to be paid a lot because the work that they do is so technical. They have to go to school and learn all of these things, take all these tests all the time, and they call them proficiency tests. They have to take them every 6 months. And same with the flight attendants. They don't have those tests, but they have proficiency tests also. And they have to be paid a good salary. Oh, and the flight attendants and the pilots have to have their hotels and their food paid for because they're traveling for the airline. And people overbook the flights. They'll call up and say, "Oh, I want to go to San Francisco tomorrow and I want this particular flight." So then they book it, and I want 5 people will be with me. So they book it, and so then something happens and that party of 5 doesn't show up, and then somebody else that was going to take the flight, something happened, and they couldn't go to it either. So then they don't show. Well, an airline can't afford to have all these bookings without people coming and showing up and paying for the ticket. So they have to overbook, and they have discovered that they have been doing this since at least 1949, since there have been airlines overbooked because people don't show. And it's amazing the statistics of how many don't show. I think this is an exaggeration. I don't think it's 50%, but it's a great many people don't show up to get those tickets that they've booked. So that is a big expense for them. And did I mention that they have to pay for the gates, whether they're being used or not, because somebody else is waiting to come in and take that gate. The gates are very valuable commodity, and they need to protect those gates. The airlines don't overbook because they want to. They overbook because they have to. So all you people that are complaining about overbooking flights, you need to understand the other side of the argument, how much money it costs to take an airplane off. It's phenomenal. And then when you take off, it's even more, and a lot of times they'll not be able to go to their destination because they've had a mechanical or something. Say they're headed from Salt Lake City to San Francisco and they can't make it, so they have to stop in Reno or someplace, and they can't land if they're full of gas. So up in the air, a long way up, they let the fuel go, because in the air, the fuel dissipates in the air. So there's no danger, because if they land with the airplane full like that, it will crash or burn or something like that. They can't land with the fuel, with a full complement of fuel on an airplane. So stop complaining and think the airlines are just really bad guys, because they aren't bad guys. They are servicing a public, and it's a dangerous service they're giving you. Thank you.